All right, so we are back this morning, and I went in as test baby and completed the placement test. It's called Rapid Assessment by Lexia. It took me about 20 minutes to a half an hour to complete, and it placed me exactly where I need to be. So I'm actually going to go back in and show you what the student is experiencing once they've done the placement test, just so you have an idea of what it looks like. And then we're going to go and look at my Lexia. So again, we would log in to Lexia Power Up. Remember, we want to use the one with the site ID. It's going to bring us back to that main screen again. And we're going to log in as test baby. So test baby is TBABY. And her password is universal. And we're going to hit login. And am I test baby? Yes, I am. And now that I've taken the placement test, it has gauged exactly where I am in word study, in grammar, and in comprehension. So when your student goes into this, logs in, this is what they will see, something like that. And it will tell you or tell the student exactly how much time they need to work for the week in each of the three areas. And so in word study, test baby should be working about 45 minutes. In grammar, 35, and in comprehension, 35. That is test baby's goals for the week. As test baby is working through each of these areas, the 0 will start traveling around that circle and allow them to know how many minutes they've completed, and that 45 minutes will tick down to the difference. So there's some math embedded in there as well. All right, I'm just going to go briefly into one of these sections, each of these sections, so we can see what this looks like. So I'm going to start with word study.
What does cowcatcher mean? I'll be honest, I don't know either, but I can break it into 3 parts. Cow, catch, I know a cow is a big, slow animal. Catch means to grab. The sound at the end of a word means something that does an action, like a hairdryer dries your hair. So a cowcatcher must be something that catches cows? Hey, that's exactly what it is. A cowcatcher is the bumper at the front of trains that catches cows, preventing them from smacking into the engine. In word study, we'll show you tricks to break words into smaller parts and put them back together again, especially ones you've never seen before. That way, you don't need to memorize everything. You just need to remember a few simple tricks.
With the word collecting, you'll add the final short vowel sound, the short E, to your collection, and you'll add another suffix. By collecting more sounds and suffixes, you're increasing your reading accuracy and speed.
A vowel suffix begins with a vowel, such as ed in started. A consonant suffix begins with a consonant, such as s in starts. Choose a word. Look at the word and listen carefully. Decide if the word has the vowel suffix ing, the consonant suffix s, the vowel suffix ed, or the vowel suffix es.
So I'm going to pause right here. You can see the green bar at the bottom of the screen continues to grow as I answer the question. I'm going to do one that's incorrect.
Be sure to look closely at the suffix at the end of the word.
You'll also see that that green bar stopped moving. That's an indicator that I got it wrong. And it won't, I can't move on from this activity until that green bar has completed. So we'll continue.
Added.
Up here at the very top of the screen, you'll see this little lightning bolt with 6 underneath. That's called a streak. A streak is when you've gotten more than 5 answers right.
Added. Nice work.
Now at the
Categorize words by vowel or consonant suffixes.
Now at the bottom of the screen, you see a blue bar. That means that I've completed one activity. Each time I complete an activity, that blue bar will grow. So you'll see now a green bar and a blue bar.
Super.
So now I've gotten
Choose
2.
a word. Listen
And
carefully
you'll
and
also
sort
see
by
that
vowel sound.
my streak is 20. That little shield next to the streak is called the streak shield, and that will continue to grow. And when it's white, if I do get an answer wrong, it'll protect my streak. All right, so those are just some of the ideas in here. You'll see that these will change different colors. They'll help become active. This is the directions. If a student forgets what they're doing, they can click on the directions. It'll give them the directions. The target is if you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, it'll let you know what you're supposed to be doing. And the key, I'm not quite sure, but we'll figure that out. All right, let's go ahead and go back. So now you'll go back and you can see that I've worked on this section, word study, for 3 minutes today, and I have 42 minutes left. And the same thing will happen for grammar and for comprehension.
Grammar. Grammar is the order of words and punctuation in a sentence, and how that changes the meaning. It's the difference between knowing words and knowing what's really being said. I like cooking, my family, and my pets. I like cooking, my family, and my pets? The order of words in sentences and the punctuation around them is really important. Honestly, grammar cuts out the confusion and helps you understand exactly what a sentence means.
Parts of speech. When people talk about parts of speech, they're not talking about the beginning of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation. Nor are they talking about lines from Dr. Martin Luther King's famous speech, I have a dream. And no, they're not referring to President John F. Kennedy's inaugural address. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. You see, all those examples are parts of speeches, which is a very different idea from parts of speech. So, what are parts of speech? When you're talking or expressing your thoughts, that's speech. Your speech is made up of all these meaningful parts we call words. When words are arranged to form a complete thought, that's a sentence. Each word in a sentence has a particular function or role and is categorized by its function. Noun, pronoun, adjective, article, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, interjection are all parts of speech. Knowing the parts of speech will help you understand written sentences and help you write correct sentences. You can improve your speech and your speeches by remembering your parts of speech.
At this junction, we can talk about coordinating conjunctions. Use them to join two simple sentences or independent clauses together and voila! you have a compound sentence, the second kind of sentence.
Remember, you can click the blue word to hear its definition. Highlight the verb.
So if a student is not sure what a verb is, it should be active.
A verb shows action or state of being.
So as they are using those different parts of speech, these will highlight so that they can actually remember or review what that part of speech is. All right, so then we have some of those other keys over here on the side. So the key idea.
Remember, you can click the blue word to hear its definition.
So it's just giving you a hint. And there are also hints built in. I'll show you that in a second. If you need to hear it again, you can click it in listen mode.
The brave sailors went across the ocean.
Students can't answer questions while they're in listen mode, so they have to exit. So just remind them if they go into listen mode that they have to exit before they answer the question. And then up here, you will also see a hints key. The hints will bring up some anchor charts and some additional information to help move a scholar along. So that's really cool that they have all those other instructional resources for students available. Okay. So the brave sailor went. It's an action word, so we know it's one, right?
Highlight the articles.
And again, you'll start seeing that green bar start to move across. You'll also notice that I'm sitting here and I'm getting usage time, but I'm not necessarily making progress. Sorry, my cat is having a problem. What is an article?
An article signals that a noun is coming. The articles are a, the, and an.
Oh, so
Highlight the adjective. An adjective describes a noun and answers questions like, what kind, how many, or which one. Highlight the preposition. A preposition begins a phrase that answers when or where. Highlight the verb. Highlight the article. An article signals that a noun is coming.
So I got that wrong, remember? And if I remember properly, that it's an, a, or the. So the.
Highlight the adjective.
Now, you will notice that my shield went down a little bit, but I didn't lose my streak. And I didn't catch it, so I'm going to ask it to tell
Highlight
me.
the adjective.
There you go. So I was able to use my directions.
Highlight the preposition. Highlight the verb. Highlight the articles. Highlight the adjective. Highlight the preposition. Highlight the article. You did it! This task is timed. Success depends on both your speed and how many you get correct on the first try. That means you need to...
All right, so we're going to go ahead and log out of that. And you'll see here I worked on my grammar today for 4 minutes. And I still have 31 minutes left for the week. And then comprehension is very similar.
Comprehension. Understanding what you read is comprehension, which can be pretty fun. Maybe you don't think you'll use reading comprehension in your future, but there's a pretty good chance you will. Why? Because reading plays a role in nearly every job out there. Chefs read new recipes. Professional athletes read their playbooks. Makeup artists read about beauty trends. Nurses read medical charts. Members of the military read regulations. And that's not to mention the reading that teachers, police officers, car mechanics, store managers, you name it, need to do. Yeah, reading comprehension is super important. Luckily, we have lots of interesting things to read in comprehension. Hip-hop poetry, what happens when dogs die, mouth-watering pastries, horrifying disasters, unrequited mermaid love, spider babies, baseball heroes, and someone nearly killed by a skunk. And I'll let you in on a little secret. If you do really well in a comprehension activity, you can power up past the last few units. Yes, doing well means you can actually skip a bunch of units. Oh, and don't forget about listen mode, if you want something read to you.
Exploration, like driving a car for the first time, is definitely a new adventure. As you explore the space shuttle, the highs and lows of a birthday, the survival of a plane crash in the wilderness, and the legacy of a great athlete and humanitarian, remember to enjoy the ride.
All right, so comprehension is broken up into various themes, and this theme is going to be exploration.
In this lesson, you will read an informational article called "What Was the Space Shuttle?" about the history and development of NASA's Space Shuttle program. Then, you will be asked about the text features of informational texts.
Just a quick note, if you have a student who speaks Spanish and needs things read in Spanish, we can also set that up.
Prepare to read by starting with vocabulary. In the following activity, you will work with the instructional terms heading, subheading, italics, caption, and text features. These terms will help you gain a deeper understanding of this article, as well as other informational texts.
So not only is it teaching the vocabulary that's embedded in the reading itself, but it's also teaching reading skills because this is part of pre-reading.
Select the definition that goes with the picture on the card. Heading. Headings are words at the top of the text that give the subject or topic. Subheading. Subheadings are words that label shorter parts of the text. Italics.
So let's go ahead and get one wrong.
Use the picture on the card to help you identify the definition.
And so they're referring to here. Oh, that's right, the words in slanted type.
Italics are letters in slanted type. Text features. Text features are elements in informational text such as headings and captions. Caption. Captions are words about a picture. You just created the vocabulary cards that can help you as you move through this lesson. It's time to read text 1. Now that you've reviewed the instructional terms, watch this video to learn about the history of space travel in the United States. Think about how you might feel if you were an early astronaut or worked at NASA.
Nothing brings to mind exploration.
All right, and so again, you can see how all of it ties together. They're using the same kinds of directions. They're using the same kinds of keys. The power up points, they continue to grow throughout the entire course. They're not separated by each individual area. They use that green bar and that blue bar to track a student's progress for a student. When you are done, we're going to go ahead and log out. You're going to see I only did 2 minutes in comprehension, and I have 33 minutes left this week. You want to remind your students that they need to work in each of those 3. What I have seen is students work in 1 over a big course of time and not do the other 2. Core students are always going to try and not do what the harder pieces are. So a lot of times kids will not do comprehension or not do grammar and do the things that they're a little bit more comfortable with. So you need to remind them that they have to complete each of those 3 each week. You also want to remind students to log out of Power Up when they're done, so that it will actually record all of the work that they've done. So you want to make sure that they're logging out at the end of their sessions. Do you want to log out? Yes. Okay, and it will bring them back to the main screen and they'll be able to log in again. This is accessible at any time. They can work on it independently if they would like, but they certainly should be working on it. You see the time frame. So now we're going to go and we're going to look at it from the teacher's point of view. So I'm the teacher and I want to look at the data on Test Baby. So let me go ahead and go in as the teacher of Test Baby. All right. And so here I can see that Test Baby is actually logged in because I see that she is, that now we have some information. So Test Baby's in 9th grade and she is in the light blue word studies zone. And if you hover over it, it'll show you that in word study, she scored in the foundational levels. And that she is in activity, she's in level 3 in activity number 1. So that's exactly where we were working. In grammar, she scored at the intermediate level, and it'll tell you grades 3 to 5. Okay, so foundational is K to 2, intermediate's 3 to 5, and then again, intermediate's 3 to 5 for comprehension. So you can see also her usage for the week. She spent a total of 55 minutes. That includes the assessment, okay, in this particular week. My target, or Test Baby's target for the week, is 125 minutes. And so we want to make sure that they're getting up there. And I mean, today is only the first day that we've used it. Now, we'll only record from today until the end of the week, and then it'll flip over for the following week. We need to be careful with that. And it shows you that Test Baby still needs an additional 70 minutes for the week in order to be considered complete for the week. That's great. And her units gained were 5 units. So she worked on 5 pieces of the skill. And she's not struggling in anything right now. Okay. And right now in my class, 100% of my students are working in each of those 3 areas because there's only 1 scholar there. And you'll see that this line hasn't changed yet, only because the dates haven't changed. This gets updated a little less frequently, but also because nobody has have actually logged in for those weeks. So it's okay. You'll see that this will change over time as well. If I want to see how many of my students need usage and if I need to assign additional homework assignments or additional time with them, it'll show you that, well, Test Baby still needs to do some time. Again, there's nobody struggling. That's a good thing. And nobody has been assigned to skill builders. I'm going to go ahead and log out of this. I'm going to log in as me so that you can actually see what the larger classrooms look like. So I have a very similar dashboard. It's a little bigger only because I have all of you guys listed. You'll see all the staff is listed. That 67% of students have logged in the last 30 days, which is cool. There's a list of all of the students. And so this is a great way to look at it. So we have a bunch of students who have not started yet, you'll see. You have some students who are in placement. That means that they're in the process of taking their assessment. Okay. And that's great. And we can see that some students are using it a little bit more frequently. So John Yu has only spent 2 minutes in here. And Sajad Waller has spent 15. And that Darnell Edie has spent 36 minutes, which is great. He still needs 64 minutes. Right now they have them kind of set at 100 minutes a week. But nobody yet has completed any graded units, which is okay. That's fine. And then you can start to see up here, 7 students need usage. Well, there's like 36 kids listed, but only 7 students have gotten into it. So that's okay. But it's starting to give you guys some feedback about where your students are. So like I said, we want to make sure today, tomorrow, Monday, that students are finishing the placement assessment so that it can start to collect data for you. Go back. Very similar for 10th grade. 11th grade. 12th grade. All kind of in the same boat. So we want to make sure that our kids are getting logged in and that they're starting to do that, progress. We also have life skills kids using this program. And here's a great example. So Tiffany McFall, right, 10th grade student, and she scored in the foundational levels, but she did score in the intermediate for grammar, which is great. And then in comprehension, she's also scored. She's doing exactly what she needs to do. This week she's worked 77 minutes. So this is a student who's been working through this program for a little while. She started last year. So she's kind of rolling with it. She's continued to use it. And you can see this week so far she's done 77 minutes, and they expect her to do 135 over the course of the week. And so she still has 58 minutes to go. But the interesting thing is that there's no one struggling. So she's not struggling with any of the things that she's being taught. And so we know that she's making decent progress in the system. We're going to click on her name just so we can take a look and see. There you go. So we can see that she still needs those 58 minutes. She's completed 14, or she needs to complete 14 units. So she's doing what she needs to do. Last week she worked on it for 15 minutes. In the last month, she did almost 3 hours worth of work. So she's kind of back in the swing of things, and that's kind of cool to see. Her progress, you can see that she is 45% done the first grade level, right? In word study. She is at the intermediate level, and it looks like she might have just started it, so she's not making progress yet, but it's something that we can keep an eye on. And in comprehension, she is working at the 5th level in the 5th activity in the foundational skills, and she's about 4% done. So you can see that that's where she's starting, and she's making some progress, which is good to see. We can see how much time she spent on each strand, which is also very nice, and how many units she may have completed in this last week. So she hasn't completed any, and that's okay. She also hasn't completed any in the last 4 weeks. So she's doing her minutes, but she's not completing. And so that's something that we would want to talk to her about. She's about 20% complete in her spelling patterns. See, she's on Unit 2 of 5. She has not completed anything in grammar yet, and she's about 16% done in her, she's done 2 out of 6 in her comprehension. So it really gives you quite a bit of data, and we can see how she scored in her placement test. She took this placement test on September the 9th, so really she's just gotten started again. It's good to see. Her placement test, you do it annually, so it gives us a really good idea of where she is. There's also a skills report, and we'll learn a little bit more about these. So she did level 1, closed. She's working on those closed syllable words, and she's about 45% of the way there. And then in letter patterns, which is where she probably started, and that was activity number 1, she's 100%. And this is really interesting. So she was able to complete these activities with a she completed this activity with a high accuracy, which means she did really well and grasped the information, and she was able to do it relatively quickly. So it'll also tell you, is it taking them a long time to do it? Are they understanding it and getting it right? These will change, and this is how it will gauge whether or not a student is struggling. Fluency challenge, same kind of thing. She had 4 activities or 4 units. She completed 4 out of 4. She did it with medium accuracy, which means she had to have scored at least 70% and in average time. And then with spelling patterns, that is where she's working now. She's in Unit 2. She has not completed it. She's done 1 of 5 units. And she is working, and she's getting medium accuracy, and she is working through it relatively quickly. So there's lots of great information available here as well. And all of these reports are printable. So when we're writing IEP goals, we can be pulling this information. We can be saying, in this particular area, this is what she's working with, and this is how she's doing. This would fall under fluency. She just starting to get into grammar and comprehend grammar. Over here you can see she hasn't really started level 3. She's opened her parts of speech, right? But she hasn't. And here you're going to see she's got low accuracy and low rate. That will change as she starts to work through it. And here in comprehension, same kind of thing. She's starting to work through the comprehension. She's opened up her first informational text. She's done 1 activity or 1 unit. And then this is where we want to pay attention. In that 1 activity, it's picking up that she's got low accuracy, and she's taking a very short amount of time. So one of the strategies is that we want her to spend a little bit more time reading and taking her time so that her accuracy improves. Even if her rate drops, I would rather see her rate drop and her accuracy improve. So we want to remind her that she wants to take her time and read and reread so that she's getting higher scores up there. So that's a student individual report. It'll also give you her action plan for the week. So she needs, like I said, she needs an additional 58 minutes. She doesn't have any lessons. She doesn't have any skill builders, but you may want to assign skill builders to her so that she can get some additional practice, especially around those low areas. If you're looking for Common Core, I know we're Pennsylvania Core, but this is aligned to Common Core. You can see exactly where she is. So if you're looking specifically for goals and objectives that a scholar is working on, here they are. You can see that she scored, she hasn't done these yet, so it says not applicable yet. Using conventional spelling for words, right now she's still at low, but she's only completed 6%. These ones that she has that are marked with 100%, those are things that she did well on the she did well on that placement test, and so it's not going to go back. These are things that she's already completed, and that's why you're not going to see any information there. Anything that's already checked off at 100%. So these should align with goals and objectives. And as you are writing new goals and objectives for scholars, you should be looking at this information. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out, but I was really happy that we could take a look at a student individually. I think it's really helpful that we have some data in here. Real quick, I didn't want to, last but not least, here is the Ready Set Work team. They are also using it. And so we'll also be able to build the reading ability of all of our scholars across the entire special education spectrum. I'm really excited about using this. I think there's lots of great data, lots of tools, lots of resources. We will continue to do training around this. And I hope that you found this information equally as useful. Please, feel free to go back and review it as you need it. And if you have any questions or want to talk to me about something in particular, please, just feel free to call me or holler at me, send me an email. All right, everybody. Thank you very, very much.